Hey, BassGeek here, and today I've got 3 new baits and 1 new technique from Japan that I can't wait to show you. That's right, geeks, I have got a new setup and 3 baits from Realis. Now, this is something that I've been doing for a little while now, for about 2 years, and I really enjoy it this time of year. It is March right now. The bass, the big females, what we've been fishing for today, they actually come out. You can find them off points or near steep bluffs. But the big ones are out there kind of all by themselves, suspended up, just out there sunning, growing those little baby bass in their bellies. And let me tell you, something that is very subtle is what they're going to eat, because they're not necessarily hungry when they're doing that. So let me show you what this technique is, what these baits are, and a couple of hacks to make them do what you want them to. Now, geeks, I will say something about fishing these. These are hard baits, and when you're fishing hard baits, you want a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of wind. Today is going to be kind of all over the place. We're going to have a little bit of sun, we're going to have a little bit of wind. We're going to have periods where there ain't no wind and there's sun. I love to fish hard baits when there's a little bit of color or a little bit of chop on the water. And the Deep Dive app helps me figure out where those areas are going to be, where the wind's going, where the wind is going to be changing, because we are in the middle of a front. When we got here today, the front, it was raining. The wind was blowing one way. When we leave today, or middle of the day, the wind will be blowing the other way. So if you use this app to plan your trips, you'll know, as you can hear the wind howl, what banks you need to be on to catch more fish. Make sure you go check out the Deep Dive first. Link in the description below, and there's a free trial. This technique I actually learned from a couple of videos on YouTube myself. I don't remember who it was or where it was I seen it, but I've been using it for a couple of years now. A few other brands make some baits. Some of them are suspenders. Those are the ones that I kind of like the most. Some of them are sinkers. Some of them are floaters. And really, it comes down to what the bass like. For example, this is one of my favorites right here, and it is actually a crankbait by Realis, and it's just called the Shad, and they come in a few different sizes. I ain't gonna lie to you, Duo sent me some of these, and they didn't send them to me in boxes, so I have no clue what the colors of these are. So I'm going to show you a few of them so that you can see the different colors. But the key to this is a floater, and you can use it as a crankbait. It's very good in the cold water, and that's why I like it so much right now in the spring when those bass start to suspend up. It's so good because it's so subtle. And the reason why it's so subtle is because that bill right there. You'll notice how thin it is. So this thing is going to dive down, depending on the pound test. Like, I like to throw it on about 6 pound test. I'm going to get this down to about 6-8 feet. But you'll also notice how thin the body is too. Now, we'll leave links in the description below, or you can just scan this code from Tackle Warehouse. And if you don't mind whether you scan or whether you click on the code, go ahead and bookmark that link, whether it be on your phone or on your computer. It doesn't cost you an extra dime, but that way anytime you go and you buy anything from Tackle Warehouse, it does support the channel. Doesn't cost you a penny extra. But the thing about this is the Realis Shad SP. Now, I'm going to guess this is like a ghost perch color. But what is great about these is they're very subtle when they're in the water, when you see them moving. I'll show you a few colors and a couple different sizes. This is the 60. Now, like I said, I don't know the colors, but here's a brown back with a kind of pearl essence chrome. This one's got a chrome to bone belly with a translucent sort of green back. This one's got a little bit of a orange belly, silver with a pearl essence sides, and a black back. So both of these are the same color. These are like the 52s, a little bit smaller. They're only going to get down to about 4 or 5 feet, 3 to 5 feet. But again, you'll notice you can match the size, match the hatch. You can see the bill, and you can see how thin the bait is. This has a goldish brown back, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of red down the side. Now this one is a sinker, where that was a floater, this is a sinker. It's made a little bit different. It's got a little thinner bill to it, and it's got a little thinner body to it. Now you can use these as jerk baits or crankbaits. This would be a great small jerk bait. And we'll talk a lot about retrieves here in just a little bit. But back to the bait itself. This is called a Spearhead, and I know I'm going to mess this up. We're going to call it the Realis, and this is a 70. And again, I don't know the colors, but again, this is a silver side, a little bit of chartreuse, and a green back. Now again, these are going to have very tight wiggles. They're not going to have big, wide wobbles or wiggles even. Not a lot of roll. It's going to be a very tight, shad-like wiggle to it. Very tight, very subtle. That's what makes them deadly. This is that same sort of color as earlier, sort of a brown gold back, a little bit of pearlescence on the side, and a little bit of red. Now I know this color, this is Ghost Minnow, one of my very favorite colors. Got that green gold back, very transparent, a little bit of blue pearl, transparent down the side, and rolling into a silver. So Ghost Minnow right here, a Clearwater killer. Now we'll go down a size. This is the 50s in the Spearheads. So a little bit smaller. They're gonna go a little bit shallower. Now that one's got the chrome side, the green back, and a touch of chartreuse around the gill plates. But again, you'll see, kind of a hump back and, very thin profile, very thin bill. So this is the brown back, brown gold, a little bit of red on the side, a little bit of blue, and that pearl sort of glimmer. Again, a smaller version of the Spearhead. This is my Ghost Shad. And remember, these are sinkers. Now this is actually a little jerk bait. So it's going to get a little bit deeper. It's going to dive down to about, again, I'm throwing 8 to 6 pound test. I'm going to get about 6 to 10 feet out of these. And these do suspend. These are called the Rosante, I believe Rosante Shad, and these are the 63 millimeter, I believe is what they are. Now you'll notice a little bit of a difference in the body on these and the way the bills are made. The bills are pulled out because they're really designed to get a little bit more when you jerk them as a jerk bait, a little bit more of that sort of side to side slashing action. They're a little bit fatter, so they're going to be a little bit wider of a wobble, but they're going to have a little bit wider roll to them when you're fishing them. So these are suspenders, and I like these a lot. This is, again, kind of a reddish perch sort of color. So even though the body is a little bit rounder, you're going to get a little bit roll, a little bit more of a roll than the other two. The bill is still very long and thin. This is a, your standard black back gold. This is kind of like a, I don't know, like a holo or that sort of color. One of my favorite colors right here when it's sunny and crystal clear, just a completely clear bait. This is kind of like a chartreuse shad, but it's got a, I don't know, little kind of a tan back to it. Now we're going to step down a size. This is the one that's got, the red line on it. These are a little bit smaller. You can see the bills are still made the same, a little bit shallower divers. This one's got the brown gold back, silver side, a little bit of pearl, a little bit of blue, a little bit of red on it. And then one of my favorites, and I forgot to tell you the size of these are the 57s. So this is, again, my favorite color. This is Ghost Minnow. And this is a great perch color. So the time of the year that I love this, it really is February through to about April. The bass are going to start coming up. They're going to start sunning, like I said earlier, and they're going to start feeding on the shad. The shad are going to start sunning. The bass are going to start sunning. They need to warm their bodies and speed up that metabolism so that they can grow those eggs, which means they're gonna have to feed a lot more. And what these three little baits do is give you the best of all worlds. So like I said, right now, still a little cold, we're gonna use the Spearhead, which is gonna be a deeper diver. Or I need something that slowly floats, getting away from those bass to trigger them into biting. But sometimes I just need to be able to stop a bait over the fish's head and let them come to it. That's where the Rosante is really going to work. So that's what makes all three of these great. Let's say I want to get this bait to sink faster. One of the things I can do, put me some suspend dots on there. Another thing I can do is put some bigger hooks on there. The next thing I can do is this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put me a couple of bobber stops on here. I like to put 2 on simply because, and if you've never used a bobber stop, basically all you're doing is you're just passing it through and you're just pulling it out. So we're gonna slide that first one up the line a little bit. I like to put 2 on so that it keeps it from sliding. So once we get those 2 on, something else that I like to do, I will put on some sort of bullet weight, just any sort of very lightweight. I like a flipping weight. They're a little more compressed, but you just put through there. This is Angler Tungsten's flipping weights. And so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let that slide down. Now we're gonna go ahead and put 1 more, or 2 more actually, but we're just gonna put 1 more on because all I've got is 1 left on this. And we're gonna slide that up and keep our bullet weight up there. Now what that does is it actually keeps that bullet weight a little bit above and it brings it down. So now that's a 1/4 ounce. That's a little bit heavy for what I want to fish, but all you do then is tie on, and I'm just gonna tie a pit seam knot. We're gonna roll around about 5 to 7 times, go through, and then just tighten it down. From there, cut your tag in. And put your bait on. I think OSP or somebody makes some weights designed particularly for this setup, this technique, but they don't make them real heavy. So sometimes it just takes a long time to get down, and the bass, especially the smallmouth, are moving a lot. And if they're deep enough, I need to use something a little different. So this is what I do. Let's talk about rod reel line setup. So rod reel line for this setup, I like something that is a little sensitive, and that is going to be my TFO. This is, I think, a 200, a 299 rod. This is the Resolve from TFO, and it is incredible. Extremely lightweight, light as a feather, cast a mile, super durable, beautiful, beautiful rod. Now, one of the biggest reasons I like this rod, and I like it because it's so sensitive, this is a 7'3". I'm gonna get a long cast, medium, light, plus. So it's got a little bit faster than a moderate tip. It's going to cast all these baits from Duo a mile. I got that teamed with a Lose, oddly enough, a cheap little reel here. And not cheap as in it's made cheap. It's actually a great little reel. You can tell I've had it for a while, beat it up quite a bit. But this is the Speed Spool from Lose. Now, I also line. I'm gonna use K9 10-pound test braid as my main line. And I'm gonna go to a fluorocarbon leader, probably an 8 to 15 foot fluorocarbon leader from K9, and that's going to be anywhere from, like I said earlier, 8 to 6 pounds. By the way, these things are incredible. They are a great buy on Amazon. There's a lot of companies that sell these exact same things and stamp their logo on it for 3 times the price. Click that link below. I'm telling you, go check these out. I've used them for years. You can see how dirty that one is. So when we talk about this technique, you know, you can see I've got the suspend dots on this. This is the sinker, the Spearhead. Do pretty much the same thing with all of these. 2-3 different retrieves. You can really treat them like a jerkbait. You can treat them like a crankbait. You can get over here against the bank and you can crank them. But the technique I really want to talk to you about right now is for those suspended bass. So what I like to do, and since the bass aren't very deep right now, they're about 10, 15 feet. That's why we went ahead and went with the suspend dots. If they're down deeper, most of the time, if they're 20 feet or more, that's when I'm going to go with the weighted line trick. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you, all you do is make a cast out there. What I'll do is I'll give the reel handle 2-3 cranks, and then I'm just going to stop. And from there on, all I do is just slowly sweep the rod tip. I'm not moving the bait very far to the side, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to sweep it again, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to take my line up, I'm going to sweep it again, because I want the most subtle action out of these baits as I can get. A nice little swimming shad. As a matter of fact, Mike pointed out to me right over here, there was a dead shad. And this time of year, when those shad come up to sun, if you get a hard freeze, it'll kill a bunch of them. So what that looks like is a shad struggling out there all by itself to survive. Just swimming a little, trying to survive. And the bass can't resist that bait. Now, when it comes to, you know, hook set, this is a treble hook bait. They're small hooks. Be careful. Most of the time, I'm going to side set, maybe a 45, but I'm going to set it to the side, get that good hook set, make sure that I've got these bass pegged. I'm going to keep that rod tip down when I'm fighting them. Yes, if you're by yourself, get it to your thumb, play the fish out. Don't take a chance of a hot bass coming in. Get down there, get it with your thumb, or get the net if you can. Put this in the boat. This is a really simple technique, and it is very productive this time of year. Make sure you go check these baits out. There's a lot of different companies that make these style of baits. My favorites, of course, are the Duo Realis. And by the way, if you want to see one of my favorite Duo Realis baits, the BR head and fish, and by the way, they've got the new 4 and 5 inch BR fish out to go along with the heads. Go check that video out right here. Otherwise, questions, comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk about bass fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Be part of the 100% Watch Squad, and you geeks rock.